Hello everyone, let's talk about features on demand and .NET Framework 3.5 in Windows Server 2012. Features on demand appeared as a concept in Windows Server 2012, and this is a cool idea. Every role or feature in Windows actually has its binaries in C Windows WinSXS, Windows side-by-side store. So when you install Windows, even though you don't have, for example, DNS installed, you do have the DNS binaries on your hard drive. And when you install DNS, it installs it from this folder. But if you want to reduce the size of your Windows installation, if you install, for example, a server that will be only a DNS server, after everything is configured, then you can delete everything from the side-by-side store that you don't need anymore. For example, Hyper-V server or Active Directory domain services and so on. In case, maybe, who knows, you do need in the future one other feature besides DNS, but you removed it from the hard drive, you can install that feature, recover its binaries again from different sources. Windows Update, for example, or the install Vim image that is on the installation DVD, or you can mount the Vim image and take the files from there, or you can have a share somewhere where you copied the SXX files and all servers can install missing features from there. Everything is possible. So check it out. Let's say that we have a server SRV1 and we have the WinSXS folder with all its features. Let's consider this is DNS, Hyper-V and Active Directory. We want to install Hyper-V, so we install Hyper-V on this server. We take it from the SXS store and we go here and actually install it as a role, and everything is fine. But we think, why should I keep Active Directory and DNS on this server if I don't need them? So you decide, of course, to remove them. We remove Active Directory, we remove DNS from WinSXS. If something happens and you need, for example, to install DNS again on this server, then you have a couple of options. You could insert the DVD, the installation DVD, and take them from the Vim image from that DVD, or you could have somewhere locally on this server, maybe on a USB drive, a folder, a local folder with all these files. You could take the DNS feature from there. You could also have a shared folder somewhere. You could take the files from that shared folder, or you could use directly the internet if you have access and take the files from Windows Update. Whichever method you use is not important. What is important that if you want to install DNS with one of these methods, firstly it will be placed back in your WinSXS store, and it will also be installed on your server. So let's see also in practice what I'm talking about. First, let me show you how to get a list of all your roles and features. This is the first command. And I'm running this command on DC03, which is a server core machine. And we have three possibilities for the feature status. A feature or a role can be installed. This means that this role or feature exists in the side-by-side store, but is also installed and functioning. it could be available, meaning that it exists in the side-by-side store, but it's not installed actually. And when you see removed, it means that the feature is not also in the side-by-side store, so it's completely removed from that server. To get a list of everything that is removed, we can filter by the install state. And now we only get the removed features, which on server core are a lot. And if you want to remove something from the side-by-side store, you could use remove Windows feature with the feature or role name and with the -remove parameter. This will permanently delete it. Let's try it for the wins role. And wins is now gone. If we try again to run this command, you see that now wins is part of the list. In case we want to recover wins, like I said, we could use a couple of possibilities. We could either have a folder somewhere with all the missing features, either locally or a shared folder. We could use the install DVD, the WIM image from the install DVD, or directly from the internet from Windows Update. In my case, I have the DVD mounted in D. You see here, so we will use the install.wim from this DVD. And speaking of the install.wim, this is a way to get all of its parameters. And when adding roles, please take note that Windows Server WIM actually has a couple of different images in it. You have a server standard and data center, and you have the core and GUI editions. The best way to make sure that you find the missing feature is to use either index 2 or index 4, which correspond to the graphical interface versions of Windows Server. We are going to use index 2 in this example. And here is the command to get back the wins feature. Install Windows feature, wins, and we use as the source a WIM, which is located in D sources, and we are going to use index 2 that I showed you earlier. So now it should go, look through that WIM image, find the feature that I want to reinstall, install it, and actually really install it. So now wins is not only in the side-by-side store, but actually installed on that server. And if you want to use a folder or a share, when you specify the source, you can just specify the folder or share. It's really the same thing. Let's also talk about .NET Framework 3.5. .NET 3.5 is not installed by default on Windows Server starting with 2012 and up, but you can install it as a feature on demand. The only problem is this is a special case, because it's really not included in the install.wim, it's directly on the installation DVD. So you could either use again Windows Update, insert the DVD and take it from there, or copy the folder from the DVD and put it somewhere in a share, for example. Let's see how we can do this with PowerShell. So since I have my 2012 R2 DVD mounted, we can again use install Windows feature. This is the name of .NET 3.5. And you see that now the source is directly a DVD folder, not the install.wim image. And now .NET Framework has been installed. It's that simple. And you can follow the same rules as up. If you want, you can copy this folder somewhere, in a share, for example, and use this syntax with a server and a share. So this was the video about features on demand and .NET Framework 3.5. In the next video we are going to build on this and talk about server core, a minimal server interface, and server with a GUI, and how to transition from one to the other. If you liked this video, then I would appreciate a like and a share, and please consider subscribing.